Settle back with a glass of wine or a nice cup of tea and welcome to this exploration of one of the most mysterious events in English history, the death of William II, also known as William Rufus, King of England. In this video we'll be looking at the account provided by William of Malmesbury, a 12th century monk and chronicler who wrote extensively about the reign and untimely demise of this controversial monarch. William Rufus was killed in 1100, struck by an arrow during a hunting trip in the New Forest. But was his death truly an accident or something more sinister? William of Malmesbury's Chronicle is one of the key sources we rely on for understanding the circumstances surrounding William's death. He paints a vivid picture of the king's character, proud, impetuous, and perhaps even haunted by a sense of doom. In the weeks leading up to his death, William reportedly experienced disturbing premonitions. He is said to have confided in his court that he believed his death was imminent, which raises the question, did these ominous feelings hint at a deeper truth? Was he, in fact, aware of a threat to his life? But the mystery doesn't end there. The exact cause of William's death has remained a subject of debate for centuries. Was it truly a tragic accident, or was it the result of a carefully orchestrated murder plot? Some historians suggest a possible conspiracy, with rivals within the court seeking to remove him from power. In this video, I'll examine the details of William of Malmesbury's account to delve into these enduring questions. Stay with us as we explore the death of William Rufus and the intrigue that surrounds it through the words of William of Malmesbury. In his 13th year, which was the last of his life, there were many adverse events, but the most dreadful circumstance was that the devil visibly appeared to men in woods and secret places and spoke to them as they passed by. Moreover, in the county of Berkshire, at the village of Finchampstead, a fountain so plentifully flowed with blood for 15 whole days that it discoloured the neighbouring pool. The king heard of it and laughed. Neither did he care for his own dreams, nor for what others saw concerning him. They relate many visions and predictions of his death, 3 of which, sanctioned by the testimony of credible authors, I shall communicate to my readers. Edmer, the historian of our times, noted for his veracity, says that Anselm, the noble exile, with whom all religion was also banished, came to Marsigny that he might communicate his sufferings to Hugo, abbot of Cluny. There, when the conversation turned upon King William, the abbot aforesaid observed, "Last night that king was brought before God and by a deliberate judgment incurred the sorrowful sentence of damnation." How he came to know this, he neither explained at the time, nor did any of his hearers ask. Nevertheless, out of respect to his piety, not a doubt of the truth of his words remained on the minds of any present. Hugh led such a life and had such a character that all regarded his discourse and venerated his advice as though an oracle from heaven had spoken. And soon after, the king being slain, as we shall relate, there came a messenger to entreat the archbishop to resume his see. The day before the king died, he dreamed that he was let blood by a surgeon, and that the stream reaching to heaven clouded the light and intercepted the day. Calling on St. Mary for protection, he suddenly awoke, commanded a light to be brought, and forbade his attendants to leave him. They then watched with him several hours until daylight. Shortly after, just as the day began to dawn, a certain foreign monk told Robert Fitzhamon, one of the principal nobility, that he had that night dreamed a strange and fearful dream about the king. That he had come into a certain church with menacing and insolent gesture, as was his custom, looking contemptuously on the standers by. Then, violently seizing the crucifix, he gnawed the arms and almost tore away the legs. That the image endured this for a long time, but at length struck the king with its foot in such a manner that he fell backwards. From his mouth, as he lay prostrate, issued so copious a flame that the volumes of smoke touched the very stars. Robert, thinking that this dream ought not to be neglected, as he was intimate with him, immediately related it to the king. William, repeatedly laughing, exclaimed, "He is a monk, and dreams for money like a monk. Give him 100 shillings. Nevertheless, being greatly moved, he hesitated a long while whether he should go out to hunt, as he had designed. His friends persuading him not to suffer the truth of the dreams to be tried at his personal risk. In consequence, he abstained from the chase before dinner, dispelling the uneasiness of the unregulated mind by serious business. They relate that, having plentifully regaled that day, he soothed his cares with a more than usual quantity of wine. After dinner he went into the forest, attended by few persons, of whom the most intimate with him was Walter, surnamed Tyrrell, who had been induced to come from France by the liberality of the king. This man alone had remained with him, while the others, employed in the chase, were dispersed as chance directed. The sun was now declining, when the king, drawing his bow and letting fly an arrow, slightly wounded a stag which passed before him, and keenly gazing, followed it, still running, a long time with his eyes, holding up his hand to keep off the power of the sun's rays. At this instant Walter, conceiving a noble exploit, which was while the king's attention was otherwise occupied to transfix another stag which by chance came near him, unknowingly and without power to prevent it, O gracious God, pierced his breast with fatal arrow. On receiving the wound, the king uttered not a word, but breaking off the shaft of the weapon where it projected from his body, fell upon the wound, by which he accelerated his death. Walter immediately ran up, but as he found him senseless and speechless, he leaped swiftly upon his horse and escaped by spurring him to his utmost speed. Indeed, there was none to pursue him. Some connived at his flight, others pitied him, and all were intent on other matters. Some began to fortify their dwellings, others to plunder, and the rest to look out for a new king. A few countrymen conveyed the body, placed on a cart, to the cathedral at Winchester, the blood dripping from it all the way. Here it was committed to the ground within the tower, attended by many of the nobility, though lamented by few. Next year the tower fell, though I forbear to mention the different opinions on this subject, lest I should seem to assent too readily to unsupported trifles. More especially as the building might have fallen through imperfect construction, even though he had never been buried there. He died in the year of our Lord's incarnation 1100, of his reign the 13th, on the 4th before the nones of August, aged above 40 years. He formed mighty plans which he would have brought to effect could he have spun out the tissue of fate, or broken through and disengaged himself from the violence of fortune. Such was the energy of his mind that he was bold enough to promise himself any kingdom whatever. Indeed, the day before his death, being asked where he would keep his Christmas, he answered in Poitou, because the Earl of Poitou, wishing anxiously to go to Jerusalem, was said to be about to pawn his territory to him. Thus, not content with his paternal possessions, and allured by expectation of greater glory, he grasped at honours not pertaining to him. He was a man much to be pitied by the clergy for throwing away a soul which they could never save, to be beloved by stipendiary soldiers for the multitude of his gifts, but not to be lamented by the people because he suffered their substance to be plundered. I remember no council being held in his time wherein the health of the church might be strengthened through the correction of abuses. He hesitated a long time ere he bestowed ecclesiastical honours, either for the sake of emolument or of weighing desert, so that on the day he died he held in his own hands 3 bishoprics and 12 vacant abbeys. Besides, seeking occasion from the schism between Urban in Rome and Gubert at Ravenna, he forbade the payment of the tribute to the Holy See, though he was more inclined to favour Gubert, because the ground and instigation of the discord between himself and Anselm was that this man, so dear to God, had pronounced Urban to be Pope. Thank you for watching the YouTube channel of Medieval Chronicles, and please subscribe to hear more original texts from the English Middle Ages. Thank you from London, and goodbye.